You are listening to the Coach Sam Show. Sam is spelled 5 a.m. No, this is not just about getting up at 5 a.m. This is a show for leaders, show for husbands, show for dads. This is a show most importantly for followers of Jesus. There is a weight in leadership, which we're going to talk about, and at times it can feel thankless. Sometimes we can feel like we're all alone in it. My hope for this show is that men could watch this show and be encouraged and be stirred up to engage in all that they have been called to do with passion. The temptation is when we feel the weight and we get overwhelmed, we want to check out. You're going to hear from great men, and we have a great man on this call, but you're not going to hear from perfect men. You're going to hear from people who, like you, are trying to figure it out. I believe the Lord is calling men to come back to being true leaders. I think there's a lot of confusion on what this means. What role does a husband play? What role does a father play? As followers of Jesus, how should we lead our businesses? We are going to look at the way Jesus himself modeled leadership. The king that currently sits on the throne came down and finished his earthly life, not on a throne, but with a crown of thorns. Let's talk through the joy that is the crown of thorns leadership. Today's guest is a man that I look up to, Hanover football star. He played quarterback at Hanover before I got there, went on to play JMU, was a quarterback, converted to tight end, converted to defensive lineman, converted to offensive lineman, where he made a pretty dang good living playing football for the Jaguars for 5 years, went to an AFC championship there against the Patriots. You might have heard of them. Then went on to play for the Buccaneers for 4 years, won a Super Bowl with a guy named Tom Brady, if you ever heard of that guy. Then went on to play for the Ravens, went to another AFC championship game, now runs a coaching business called Undrafted, where he doesn't just coach people physically, but he trains their mindset, and it's an opportunity for him to share the good news of Jesus. All of that pales in comparison to the man that he is. He's a follower of Jesus. He's a role model to me, husband to Morgan, who's one of our family friends, and is a father to Raylan, who's 7, Ryan, who's 5, and Walker, who's 2. Josh, that is the long intro. Welcome to the freaking show, man. How are you?
Great. Excited to be here. Proud of you and what you do. Just that intro, starting with Jesus. Yeah, man, changed my life. So excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. All right, talk to me about this, because if someone saw you maybe a year ago, you could tell me the exact time frame, and then they see you right now on this call, there is something already obviously different.
Yeah.
How much weight have you lost?
Yeah, like 90 pounds, man. I was over 300 pounds for like 15 years. Last 4 or 5 years of my career, I bulked up to 330, 325. It had a purpose then. It had a no purpose when I retired. So just through consistency and a little bit of discipline, a little bit of clean eating, just got down to a healthier weight. It didn't help the fact that I needed to get my hip replaced. So I thought losing the weight would take the pain out of my hip. It didn't. Got my hip replaced. But now I'm a healthier weight to be able to do all the things you talked about.
Dude, that is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, so it seems like to me that guys who are skill positions, when they're done playing, they get fatter. And then guys who are offensive linemen get skinnier. Is that true?
For the most part, I would say, yeah. I think those guys, those like the skill guys, they spend their whole life trying to get 6-packs and, be fast and strong. And then they're just tired of it when they're done. They're like, I'm done. The fat guys are just tired of being fat.
Yes.
And they're like, now I'm going to be that guy, So I definitely think there's a trend that way. Those guys are at their peak physical appearance.
Yes.
We're not. So only place we have to go is up by looking better, not in weight.
But it shows both of those were a chore that they wanted to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a chore to weigh that much. And it was a chore to always eat the right way and all that stuff. But
yeah,
that's crazy. Dude, so talk to me a little bit. Give a little plug about undrafted coaching. I know I gave like a little bit of an intro to it. How did it start? Why did you want to start it? What did that process look like? Talk me through that.
Yeah, more than what we do, like who we are, man, it's discipleship at the heart of it. I retired. I look back at my career. And it's a cool thing, like 10 years in the NFL and played in college, but I walked on to college. I wanted a scholarship and I was undrafted to the NFL and I wanted to be drafted. So I was looking back at what I would have done different. Um, like you said, I played with Tom Brady in Tampa. A couple, like my second year in Tampa, I was with him, and I kind of got challenged by being around him. Like the question I ask most kids is how much of football or how much of sports in general is mental? And everybody says some number between 70, 80, 90%. And then the question to me was, well, what do you do to train it?
Yep.
And I was nothing.
Yeah.
But physically I train, man, I sleep, nutrition, I work out, I go to practice, but I'm leaving a majority of my performance up to chance.
Yeah.
So I started working on that. I was declining physically toward the end of my career, but progressively playing better and better.
Yeah.
And I can attest that to training the mental side, confidence, resilient, just being more prepared, how I'm talking to myself. So what I do now is try to help these kids in high school, some college kids, start to try to have handles for that before they get to the NFL on the back end of their career. And this stuff carries over for the rest of your life.
No doubt.
So starting to work on that earlier on, and seeing huge changes in the kids just by working on that side of things. So it's been very rewarding.
It's addicting to see people like grow.
Yeah.
It's an addicting process. You know, like I've told people this when I was in that limbo phase of not knowing if I was going to get picked up next. I was literally praying, Lord, don't make me just a high school football coach, because I could feel the gravitational pull like drawing me in. I was like resisting it.
Yeah.
But like once you get in and you can see someone, it's cool seeing them like do something on the field. That is awesome. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But also seeing their mindset change is a really, really cool process. Who are some of the guys? I know you're training some guys for the NFL right now, right? Who are some of those guys?
Yeah, so I'm training one guy for the NFL right now. His name is Michael Tarquin, played at Oklahoma, is married, lives in Jacksonville. And so he was here and looking for somebody to train with, and thankfully got connected. So I've been doing that as well. And I find it's the conversation. So we work out together, we run together, we do O-line drills on the field together. And those conversations between the sets, like the O-line stuff's super important. Technically, that's a given. If you're not willing to work hard, you're not going to make it anyway. So when we're lifting, we're training, everybody's working hard. But those conversations in the middle, man, have been awesome, have been just special to pass down things I learned along the way to him, and just try to help him, like I said, give him some handles, man, to go through that, because you've been through it.
Yep.
You know exactly what it's like, man. We all need that person one step ahead of us to kind of pour into us, just to help us kind of navigate things.
When you were talking about like training the mental side of it, did you have a mental coach? I know a lot of guys in the NFL like have like a mindset coach. Did you have any of that? Who mentored you? Who was your help in that?
Yeah, so I did. It started out really with guys in the locker room. And I wouldn't even say all of them were believers, but I would watch them play and I'm like, I'm a believer. I should be playing free. I should be playing wide open with no hesitation. And then I would see these guys who are not even believers doing it. And so it challenged me in my faith for sure. But I was like, and they were close buddies. I'd go to them and like ask questions before the game that I knew the answer to, but I almost needed it to be like reiterated for some reason. And one of my buddies, AQ Shipley, he looked at me. He's like, you know what to do. Just go do it. Be yourself. And like, I was like, man, that like started it. And then I started seeing a sports psychologist with the team. And we talked about sports some, but it was more life, man. It was my relationship with my wife, parenting, how I responded to adversity outside of sports. And then he would just have this amazing way of just looping it back to sports and making sure my focus was where it needed to be when I was playing.
Yeah.
And man, it opened up doors for me I never thought would open up.
Gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, I want to, like the intro, I want to talk through this like weight and leadership. And I felt it on a smaller scale, maybe for a smaller amount of time. And then obviously you felt it because total in the NFL, 10 years, was it a 10-year career?
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
10-year career. Talk me through like when you were undrafted and you were with the Jaguars, just fighting, scratching, clawing, and probably dealt with a lot of like performance anxiety stuff. So you dealt with that, but also simultaneously, like, were you married when you were with the Jaguars yet? Like, when did you and Morgan get married? Was it right after college?
Yeah. So we got married my second year, after my second year in the NFL.
Okay.
Um, and that question you brought up is awesome because my life, I didn't know the Lord, no
Yeah.
relationship with the Lord through
Yeah.
college. And my first year for sure through the NFL and into my second year in the NFL, I just was like no relationship with the Lord and doing all like had performance anxiety, had all the things. And when I came to know the Lord and surrender my life to the Lord, it didn't just go away. I still had
Yeah.
it,
No doubt.
but I just started to have someone I could take it to.
Yep.
Because the first couple of years there, man, I'm going to take it from him. And that's what happened. I earned a spot on the team and
Yep.
I got a truck and I got an apartment.
Yep.
I was engaged and I had all this stuff. I making more money than I thought I would ever need.
Yep.
And I was simultaneously miserable.
Yeah.
Like laying in bed for like a week. There was a time in the middle of the season, my second year, for like a week, and just depressed, would start crying sometimes. I couldn't. And I thought I had achieved everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
And then the Lord met me there. And like I said, after I surrendered my life to the Lord and growing in my faith, I think the sanctification process of growing closer to Him, it's gotten better, but hasn't just gone away. I still struggle with performance anxiety and still struggle with pressure and confidence and approval and all the things. Now I just have someone I can take it to.
Yeah. Like, the reason I say like wait, because that I don't know what else to call it. That's what it feels like. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
This weight. And it's still like in the stuff that I'm doing now, it can feel like weight. And also, you're accountable to your wife. Mm-hmm. You're accountable to your kids. Talk me through like that season. Even you weren't married yet, but y'all knew you were going to get married. You know what I mean? Like y'all were engaged shortly after and then married, all that stuff. And I'm sure even in year 2, even after Jesus met you there, when you were there on depressed and anxious and felt that weight, like you still had that. How was battling that? Talk me through, how was battling that while like you also are responsible for loving Morgan the way that Jesus loves the church. Like that's what we're called to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a sacrificial love.
Yeah.
Which means her over you.
Yes.
Talk me through that while simultaneously you're trying to achieve your dream. What was that like?
I did a terrible job. I did a terrible job at first, man. And just arguments and like, well, I'm working, I'm just trying to do this. And you can blame it on everything. You can blame it on like, I'm doing this so I can provide, I'm working so hard so I can make money. And then you can have this house and you can have the car, And I did a terrible job. And I think it's because I was trying to shoulder the weight all by myself. And then I started surrounding myself with men that were doing it the right way and just slowly over time I don't have it figured out, gotten better and better. And I heard this, our pastor here in 1122 has said before, trucks ride better with a heavy load. Like we're meant to have a weight. We're meant to carry a weight. And usually we fall down fast when we don't have a weight to carry.
Yeah.
When we're idle hands and we're comfortable and all these things. So I'm not saying run from that and don't work as hard as you can. But the scripture says to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And He says all your heart, all your soul, so this wasn't like give 50% to work, 50% to my wife. It's like just this balance of when I'm at work, be at work, 100% at work. And when I'm home with my wife, be 100% all in with my wife, 100% with my wife.
Yeah.
And not letting work just get the best of me. I would go into work, give the best I had at work. And you should, but I would get home and she would get the leftovers. Well, I'm tired and I'm mad and I'm worn out. And somehow that's an excuse to not give her effort and attention.
Yeah.
And so once I started, man, like the same way I have a coach for football, the same way I have a nutrition plan, the same way I have a lifting program. When I go home, I have to have intentional rhythms with my wife, the same way you do with work. You have a schedule for work, schedule date night with your wife. And so I was giving all these things to work. And that's what's helped me carry this weight better is intentionality, is consistency, and is communicating with her. hey, there's a hard season coming. I'm going to need some grace. I'm going to need to weather this with you. But when I come out of this, we'll have some free time and we'll go do this, you know? So I think a little bit of all those things. And like I said, I did a terrible job. I still fall short at times, but it's a whole lot better than it was.
Oh, I'm perfect now. So if you ever need
Yeah.
like any advice,
I know. That's why you're hosting.
that's why I'm here. That's why I'm the host.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny. I was encouraged to do this like show, and a couple friends like, hey, you should do that. Like, you're good at talking, you should do it. And I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna go on this. I started it at this year, so 29. I'm gonna go on this show as a 29-year-old who hasn't been married that long and hasn't been a father that long, and talk about what it means to be a great husband. Like, this is gonna be, it's gonna be great. But what you're saying about not handling it the right way, giving Morgan your leftovers. When I was at Tech, and it felt the way you described the Jaguars is the way it felt for me my freshman year at Virginia Tech. That's the way it felt. Like, going in, I just have to prove myself. Walk on, I got to prove myself on the team. And I remember our first inter-squad scrimmage that was public, my parents and Lauren came up to, and I played terribly. I missed like 2 pass protections when I was at fullback. Got like Logan hit in a scrimmage, like, which is not good. It was not good. I had like a catch for like 2 yards, like total fullback numbers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not good. And like 1 catch, 2 yards. And then after, I did not go back to like my to hang out with them. I didn't go hang out with Lauren or my mom and dad. I went and just watched film. And some people hear that and be like, yeah, like, no, that was wrong. That was completely wrong. They just came up to watch me, and I let my poor performance say, screw you guys. I'm going to go and just study, because I got to get better. I got to get better. I got to get better.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's this line, like you're saying, you got to give 100% when you're there. And then when you go home, you've also got to give 100%.
Yes.
100. And it's just, I think the reason this is important, not everybody has like the football experience, but people that listen to this, there's a couple different like demographics. There's going to be like players that I coach that'll listen to this. They'll think it's cool that you're on here. So they're going to be preparing for this when they're older. But then there's also like people that like I get the opportunity to help with business coaching and things along the leadership coaching. And similarly, they feel this weight to perform a lot. And there's a lot of stress in that in work, because they want their company to be good. And if they're the boss, if they're the owner, if they're the founder, then they're responsible for employees and putting food on their table. And then all of that stress sometimes can come home. Do you have a process for you? Is it the drive home? Do you take a breath before you enter the house? How do you switch modes? How do you do that?
Yeah, it's the drive home for me, 100%. There's been countless times that I usually call my wife on the way home and get a feel.
That's a huge thing.
How was your day? I can tell. I mean, you know your wife. You could talk you don't even have to ask, like, are you doing okay? It's just like you hear it. And so I get a feel for that. But there's been countless times that I'll sit and drive. I'll text her and be like, I need to sit out here for 5 minutes. And I'll pray. I'll listen to music, whatever, and just realize, like, I just came from work, but what I'm going into is way more important. Like, the ministry of my family is more important than any work. I know some people do some very important things. Way more important than trying to win a football game. They do some heavy stuff. But somehow we let that take sometimes first place over everything. And so, like, man, when I come in, we'll probably talk about leadership a little bit later, but like, something happens when I walk in the house. It does. They're either happy I'm there, or it's a burden that I'm there. It's fun when I come in, and I'm bringing stress when I come in. So whether we like it or not, our kids, when we come in, feel a certain way. And just asking yourself the question, like, I'm about to go in, God, you're going to have to give me some strength. You're going to have to guide me in how to be a father and how to be a husband, literally step by step. So the drive home, long and short, is a huge thing for me. And just realizing, like, reshifting my mind to this is way more important than anything that I just went through.
Yeah.
And they're watching.
Yeah. And like what I've tried to do recently, which is counterintuitive for a guy especially, is like to share that with my wife.
Yeah.
Like we want to make it seem like I'm fine. Like
Yeah.
I'm good. Like just don't worry about me. I'm fine. Meanwhile, like you're pretty stressed out about like work. We want to just like kind of like shell up and like block it off instead of just being like, hey, Lauren, like I'm really stressed out right now. Like, can we like take a time? Like, can we just like worship together as a family? Can we pray together real quick? Can we? And I think our kids will learn so much from that rather than just shelling up and going to sit in a room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like allowing them to process it as a family. Like, hey, this is a culture of honor and we're going to honor each other. And I got some heavy lifting to do and let's process it together. In the same way, when Lauren's going through stuff, I don't want her to shell up.
Yeah.
I want her to talk to me about it. You know what I mean? She doesn't need to pretend to be all that stuff. And I think it took me a while to like I still get in those modes where I just try to get into like the Superman mode where I just got to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want your kids though to come to you and tell you anything.
Correct.
And you're like, come to me and tell me everything. Like I'm always here. But yeah, we don't do that.
No.
And it's just funny. A lot of the kids that I work with, like right when we get on a call, like, hey man, like tell me about school, tell me about sport, whatever. It's good. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
That's all we got, and that's ingrained in you from an early age.
Yeah.
Like even for me, there would be the GM or the coach would walk around the field when you're playing and be like, hey, how you doing, man? And like I would just be like, great.
Yep.
Because like you're just like, he doesn't really care how I'm doing. Either way, get your job done, whatever. And we carry that same response from work over to our wife. Hey, how was your day? Fine. It's good. Yeah. And if you're not communicating well, and like you said, like working on that, I struggle with it too.
Yeah.
But coming in and like the kids being like, man, Dad, are you all right? No, it was a long day. There's a lot of stress. And you know how Dad tells you when you're stressed, like take a deep breath and worship or pray and tell someone about it, and it's been cool to, like you said, I've started doing that as well. The conversations that come with the kids from it is awesome. It's just guiding them and try to point them in a direction of they're watching more is caught than taught.
Yeah. I don't know if you told me that the last time I saw you, more is caught than taught. But I've been saying that recently, and I heard it from somebody. It might have been you. You just said it. I think that's so true. So, like, it's not the lecture to our kid that changes their life. Yeah. It's when they see Dad go to the Lord because he's dealing with stuff. And it's like, oh, that's how you handle that. Like, that's how you do that. When they see Dad love Mom, even when Dad's going through stuff, it's like, oh, okay. Like, I remember a couple times throughout, more than a couple, but when we'd be in the car with my dad, my mom wouldn't be around. And he'd be like, gosh, your mom is just amazing. And I'm like, oh, that's what I want to be like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like that kind of stuff that I'm like, oh, I remember that. I don't remember many of the talks. Yeah. I remember that kind of stuff, So, man, that's good. All right. Let me hit you with a heavy hitter.
Perfect.
Okay. What does it mean to be a leader as a man, in marriage? What is the role? What do you believe is like the biblical role of men in marriage?
To serve.
Talk me through
it. For some reason, you look at Jesus in the Bible, like you said, lead like Jesus led. And there's in no way in there where it's like this domineering, coming in, I'm the leader, follow me, like this, there's grace in there, there's serving in there, there's provider, there's protector, there's prophet, there's all these things, man, that we can do. And my definition of leadership, and like I said, man, it's you can learn stuff from people that don't know the Lord.
Yep.
What I think, when I played with Tom Brady in Tampa, the first meeting, he walks in and everybody just like was like this, like, all right. And like got like their notebook together and their pen in their hand. And it's because one guy walked in the room. And I say this, I've said it before, but when he walked in the room, the bar shot to the ceiling.
Yeah, you told me that.
And I'm like, but because he's in there, I'm like, let's go. I can do it,
Yeah.
So now when I walk in the room, what happens?
Yeah.
When I walk into my home, what happens? When
Yeah.
my kids see me coming, what do they think? When my wife sees me walking, is she like, there's this, I listened to a podcast the other day, and this guy was training Navy SEAL, or he's talking to Navy SEAL guys. And when they were training, he stopped them and in pretty colorful language was like, you're at war, whatever, and you're pinned down. And then it's dark out and you see this silhouette coming over the hill. You don't know who it is. And then you can finally tell who it is. And you're like, they're either like, yes, he's here. Or they're like, here we go. We're not making it out, And so as far as being a leader in the home, I just want to be the type of leader that comes in the house and things are chaotic and I bring calm, and they're like, I come home and they're like, man, here comes some peace, some calmness, here comes confidence. Here comes humility.
Yeah.
All of those things. So I have to evaluate that all the time. But as a leader of the house, I think that's what it looks like. When you bring peace, you bring comfort, you bring confidence, you bring humility. Those are the things that come to mind. You bring serving, going first, man.
Yes.
I think going first, being the number one apologizer in your house.
Yeah.
We always want our kids to apologize, but we don't apologize. Man, I'm so I shouldn't have. You know what? They're 5, but look them in the eye and be like, "Hey, I handled that the wrong way. I shouldn't have yelled at you."
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that. I saw that it made you upset. And the next time I do it, could you tell me? Could you hold me accountable? And man, it's so freeing because your 5-year-old looks at you most of the time. They're like, I forgive you, Dad.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
But I think it's all those things. And we're going to fall short, man. We're going to fall so short. But just like the life of a believer is repentance and coming back, I think the same is in your house, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what about you? How do you answer that question?
Well, I just answer it like you did, just because I look up to you, and that's exactly what I think now. So that's my answer, is what you said.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I think it's similar stuff. I think there's 2 ends that are off. Okay, leadership. Men are not called to be passive. No. Okay, I don't think women are either. By the way, we're not. When I say passive, I mean check out, nonchalant, go with the flow, see what happens.
Yeah.
We're not called to be passive.
Yeah.
And I think some men have bought into this lie. Here's something I hate, and I'm sorry if you've ever said this. I know I've probably said it too. I hate the happy wife, happy life comment.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, I don't have an opinion. I've just got to, it almost says more about my wife if I say that. It's as if she's some fragile human that I've just got to make happy. My job is not to make her happy. My job is to die for her.
Yes.
Those are 2 different things. God's job is not to make me happy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So,
and happiness is based on happenings.
Correct.
And I can't control the happenings.
No.
I can't control all the things. I mean, if it's just so based on joy is in Jesus and happiness is in happenings. And if you're trying to live by happiness, happy wife, happy life, well, spin the wheel every day. Come on, happy. And it ain't going to always be there.
Well, then what it does is the guy, if he adopts that mentality, he doesn't step into hard conversations.
Yep.
He just tiptoes around stuff. As long as she's okay, then I can go do my thing. It's like that. There's no intimacy in that.
None.
There's no intimacy in that. So I think the one side is passive. And then the other side believes that they get really excited about the man being the head of the wife, the husband being the head of the wife.
Yeah.
And then not understanding that what Jesus said, and I agree, husband, head of the wife, that's in scripture. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
Okay? But also it says you are to love your wife as Christ loves the church and gave himself up for her.
Yeah.
So I'm okay, what does headship look like? What does covering look like? it looks like getting brutally murdered.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
what. So, like leadership, you said going first.
Yeah.
I think biblically, we should initiate.
Yes.
We should initiate. So I don't know if I told you this. This might be like breaking news for my
Come on,
4
please give
listeners.
it to
Are you
me.
ready?
Yeah.
We found out we're having a baby girl. So,
Come on. Are you girl dad?
dude,
Let's go, man.
we're having
You
a
wait
baby
till
girl.
that little girl is born and we can say what we want. You have boys, you have sons born, and there's this thing in your mind. Like, what are they going to be? They're going to be tough and play. You just, at least I went there. I was like, my daughter was the first one we had, and she's born, and I didn't care. I just was like, I was boohoo. I mean, I was like, I couldn't get it together. And was just like, I will just protect you. I will do, and it doesn't matter. I'm just going to show you I love you and tell you I love you every day for the rest of
No
your life.
doubt. No
And
doubt.
I can't wait. So dude, I'm stoked. Let's go.
So, like with the girl's name, and we're not hiding anything. Girl's name, we're gonna name her Scarlett. Like that's gonna be our girl's name.
Yeah.
And I want it when she gets married one day, if that's what God has for her. I want her to be with a man that pursues her, that initiates with her. And I don't want her to entertain little passive boys. Yeah. Like she doesn't need to pursue. She's the gift. Yes. She's the treat. One of the things that Lauren did, I don't know if intentionally or not, maybe it's just because she wasn't that into me, but like she made me pursue her. She was not going to go out of her way to pursue me. Yeah. So like I think there's something biblically true that guys should initiate. So yes. I guess there's two sides. There's the passive side that I think is wrong. And then I think there's the domineering, you listen to me, there's no conversations, my way or the highway. And both of those don't fit within Scripture, in my opinion. Yeah. It is headship, but headship looks like covering, protection, dying, serving. The interesting thing about that verse, imagine if you and I, okay, I'll be the wife in this example, okay? You'll be the husband. You're taller, you're bigger, stronger.
There we go. Yeah. Older, whatever.
yeah. All that stuff. I'll be the wife. Okay. Imagine someone was counseling us. This is what Paul does in Ephesians 5. Okay, he's counseling husbands and wives. Mm-hmm. And he goes, all right, husbands, love your wife as Christ loves the church and gave himself up for her. Okay, that's your role. You got it? Okay, sweet. Now, wife, okay, submit to your husband, okay, as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife. How weird would it be for you in that situation to be like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Yeah. It's like Paul was talking to the wife. Why don't you worry about your role?
Yes.
Your role is to die.
Yeah. Don't be her Holy Spirit. You're not her Holy Spirit. Correct. And I've struggled with that because I've been coached my whole life, right? Like, tell me what to do and I'll fix it.
Yes.
And then sometimes we think we can do that with our wives.
Yeah.
Like I'll just, in all transparency, Morgan and I go to counseling.
Yeah.
Not because things are bad, but because I need to be coached. I need to be told, hey, this, like, let her get something. There's a couple topics we talk about, we argue about every time we talk about them. So we're like, let's go to counseling. We have somebody kind of working through it and coaching us and talking to us. That counselor can say things to her that I can't.
No doubt.
There's things that she can tell me that if Morgan says it to me, it's an attack on my pride or whatever. But everything we argue about is unmet expectations. We just set these expectations. Like I walk in and either this should be, why aren't the laundry done? Or that's like a real small one. But like we have these unmet expectations of like, how much we're together and you're not home and you work too much. And when we stay in our lanes, it should be a competition for the man to die to himself more and more and a competition for her to submit more and more.
Yes.
But if one's doing it and one's not, it awfully becomes like some contempt in there. And like you said, for every mile of road, there's 2 miles of ditch. So we want to stay on the road, right? And we're constantly falling into either like things aren't going well. We're like, well, we'll just be passive. And we just fall into this ditch. And then we kind of like hop back on. And then we're like, all right, well, I'm not getting my way. And I'm going to go over here, like domineering, fall into this ditch. Yeah. It's just this thing of like, how do we stay on the road? How do we stay on the path to where we need to go and avoid these two ditches, man? So all that stuff, man, is.
Dude, it's so good. Like, here's something important to note too. Neither role or position is a weak role.
Right.
or is it an inferior role?
Yeah.
Right. So like the dying to yourself, dying to her is not weak. That's not weakness.
Was Jesus weak?
Correct. And then
Right.
submitting
Yeah.
and trusting leadership is not weak. It's
Right.
actually how like the wife and husband come alive, right?
Yep.
So like the part of Ephesians 5 that says gave himself up for her, and then it says cleansing her with the word. And it doesn't have like, it's not the big W, it's lowercase w. And that Greek word means like spoken word. Okay. And it says like cleansing her with the word and speaking about her as if she's holy and blameless. So like how much would this mean to our wives if constantly we were speaking over them? Hey, you are holy and blameless. You have no reason to step into insecurity. I see you as holy and blameless. And even if you betray me, I'm coming back after you because that's how much I love you. And I would die to you every day, no matter what. They would come to life.
Yes.
How much would we come to life if they would look at us and be like, I trust you.
Yeah.
I think you have what it takes. I'd be like, oh, my wife trusts me.
Yeah.
That's the way that we come to life. So like, I think it's less about this domineering posture and definitely not this passive posture, and more about like how are we designed to come to life into what we were called to do? Does that make sense?
100%, man. That's why this marriage is one of the parenting has been really hard, challenging. I want to say hard. I love it.
Yeah.
Like but it's like daily, man. I'm like, man, fell short there. Like, God, I repent for this, man. Just continue to give me the strength. And with my wife, like, man, just like being an example, it's so easy to like, I don't know, blame them. Like, it's so easy to just complain about them.
Yes.
And like you said, you heard your dad. Dude, there was times where your parents argued, and your dad might not have really he loved her, but he might not have liked her at the time.
Yes.
Whatever, like just frustrated, mad. But like just speaking, man, she's so amazing, dude. When your friends are, you have friends that are constantly either complaining about the kids or complaining about their wife. Like, man, she's nagging me. Man, even if that's the case, like this idea of like, have some friends around you that when you start doing that are like, hey man, that's not how you should talk about your wife,
No.
Have some friends that kind of call you on that too. Cause the way you think, cause all the mental performance stuff, the way you think matters.
Yes.
The things you say to yourself matters.
Yes.
And if you go in and it's like, my wife, she just nags, like start talking to yourself in a way, man, the dishes might not be done, the laundry might not be done. It's not just her job. Like maybe where can I help? Where can I pick this up? Or maybe she had a hard day. Let me dive into like, maybe why she's so tired or why she's so upset. And it's just, the Bible says, I will send you a helper.
Yeah.
And we view that as like what we view a helper as, beneath, whatever. It's like helpmate. It's like when I'm sending the Holy Spirit to you, I'm sending this thing to live inside of you because you can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Like he sent me Morgan.
Yes.
For whatever the bad, the good and the bad. That's all the things you say when you're getting married. He sent me Morgan. She's my wife, and I can't do this life without her. Period. Yeah. As tough as you think you are, as much money as you think you make, and as much influence as you have, you can't do it without her.
Yeah.
That's why she's there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, we just take for granted. We almost overlook the words that are said, and just in our society today, we just get it confused, man.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is maybe specific to Lauren and me. You could talk me through this, but like there's definitely things in our marriage, and this might have to do more with personality, but I do think there's a tie into like husband wife. There's definitely things in our marriage that we wouldn't be doing now if I didn't push, if I didn't like say like, hey, I think we should do this.
Yeah.
And because she lovingly trusted me, she was like, hold my hand and hold on for dear life. And like, I trust you. So yes.
Yeah.
And then she's also the wise, discerning one. That's like, Sam, I don't think that's the Lord speaking to you on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's my one to like, but like if I'm like real passionate, she might not like where it's headed, but she's able to discern like, all right, Sam's hearing from the Lord here, like, and we're going to step into this. Does that make sense? So like, I think there is this like pushing and then this discernment that your wife brings. But you're right.
Yeah.
It's this helper that doesn't mean she does the dishes while you go to work. That is not the application of that scripture.
No, not at all. And dude, to your point, like there's so much of that because like you're super ambitious, and I'm sure the people that listen to this, they wouldn't listen to this podcast if they weren't somehow motivated and wanted to be, great or good at something.
Yeah.
And dude, we get so caught up in trying to chase more and more and more. But if you're not in prayer about it and you're not like walking with the Lord about it, it's just like, yeah, sure, I'll open this, I'll start this company and I'll buy this property and I'll invest in this, and it's like you've got to have that person that's in prayer and with you and knows you and is willing to tell you like, hey, we'll pump the brakes. But my other side of that was like when we decided to homeschool Raylan. She's in private school. She was in private school or kindergarten in there for 2 months. I was injured, so I was home more. And looking back, it's the grace of God that I was not playing in season because, dude, she's awesome. She is. She'll just like pony up, man. And she'll just like get up, get dressed. We're going to school. This is what we're doing.
Yes.
And I happened to be home and I was hurt, so I couldn't do much. But I'm sitting on the couch, and every morning, man, it's just like go to school at 7:30, get picked up at 3:30, and for us, I saw it, and I'm like, we're homeschooled. We're pulling her out, man. Like this is not what was intended for our family. This is not what's intended for her. She's not the girl that I've seen my whole life. The Lord's given her special things, and now they're getting kind of kicked to the side. And so, man, you think about how like I wasn't homeschooled. We were just straight up public school. Morgan and I, same place as you. And like our parents found out, they're like, what are you doing? Like homeschool? That's, weird. But I told her, I was like, this is what we're doing. Like, and there was some she was hesitant about it. But now we look back and she trusted me, man. Like, and it's hard to trust someone it's hard to trust someone that's not consistent, doesn't communicate clearly, that's not capable. There's a bunch of C's there, but like, there's a bunch of things that if you go to tell your wife, this is what I think we're going to do, she's not going to listen.
Correct.
So that trust is built. And then when you go to make this one decision, it's like, hey, I don't do this all the time, but this thing, I'm standing firm on this one. Yeah. And this is what we're doing. And we look back, man, it's one of the best decisions we've ever made for our family and for our daughter.
Yeah.
And that was the opposite side of that, where we've had trust built up to where I could say something like that. And she's like, okay, all right, whatever,
Yeah. It's so true. So true. There's a call to still like passionately pursue what the Lord put in your heart. So when you put that homeschool like vision on your heart, it's like, all right, I'm bringing this to my wife. And I'm sure like this is true for me too with Train Up Academy, with Hanover, with these things. If she was, because I do trust her like discernment.
Yeah. If
she was like, Sam, you've got to trust me. No, this ain't going to work. I'd be like, all right, we're going to keep praying about it. Like, I don't know if I'd drop it, but like, I'm not going to move forward without my wife. Like, I'm not moving forward without her. Yeah. So like, we're still going to make that as a team decision. But going back to the thing of like initiating, we're not called to sit idle. Okay.
No.
So like, if there's something on your heart, you get to have a voice.
Yeah.
You get to say something. You get to speak up and bring that together in unity and go make decisions together. But I want to circle back to something you said earlier. You talked about unmet expectations.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about that like with your counselor. And I think this is a big thing. We talk about like expectations versus expectancy is kind of the language we use. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like how does that cause a bunch of arguments and disappointment, the unmet expectations piece?
Well, it says in the Bible, what causes fights and quarrels among you? Is it not that you want and you don't get? Is it not just you and the sin inside of you? Like, stop blaming everybody else. But it's even when it comes like to circle us back to sports some too. When you lose, there's like 4 responses. You can blame, right? You can make excuses. You can complain, blame someone else. You can complain about circumstances. Oh, you make excuses. Oh, it was wet, whatever. Or you can take ownership. And and learn from it and take one step forward to get better at whatever it is. So I think when it comes to like expectations, it's, man, I came in, this is so dumb. I came in like a couple weeks ago and I had taken Raylan to her, like she plays girls flag football, which has been awesome.
That's
And
awesome, dude.
it's like girl power. It's sponsored by the NFL, dude. It's awesome. They're like making it a high school sport here, but I won't talk about that. But I come in from that, and Morgan earlier in the day was like, "What would you like for dinner?" And I was like, "We eat a lot of rice. We eat a lot of beef, and like I love that." So I was like, "Rice and beef would be awesome." And I walk into the kitchen, and she had made this like pasta dish. And dude, this sounds so dumb for me to say this out loud. And I'm like, "What is this?
What are we having?"
You asked me, and this is what I said. And I came in, and dude, I was so mad. I'm like, started cooking my own stuff and like throwing
like passive aggressively, like being loud and cooking,
fit, like a throwing a fit like a child, man. And that's just a small example, but it's just this unmet expectation that wells up in us. Like they owe me, they should do this. Like I'm just expecting this, and if they don't do it, then I'm going to be mad. And it's you. It's you. For every argument you've ever had, there's one common thing: you're in it. Yeah. Period. If you've had an argument, you're there. And so this idea of like start to look inward, man. Start to look at yourself. Like what gets you going? What gets you fired up? What's under, like, even with the kids, man, they'll get upset about something, and you kind of talk to them, ask one or two questions, and you start to get to the root of what the problem is.
Yeah.
And that's what I've had to do now, man. Our counselor's been great. Morgan and I now, like if there's something I want to say, she parents the kids in a way that I don't agree with, or something, lashes out or something comes out, like just having ways like, how do you want me to communicate with you when I see this? Obviously, it's for her, it's don't call me out in front of the kids. Yeah, she's like, shoot me a text and just say like, hey, I think the way you handled that was wrong. She's like, not that I will love that. I won't love being like called out, but I can at least receive it and hear it. So you have to communicate with your wife, man, because we all have expectations. And most of the times when a fight happens, it's because of that. It's because of pasta instead of rice.
That's so funny. I've passive aggressively done the dishes countless times. And
you like clang them real loud, dude?
Yes.
Like making noise.
Oh my God. And like, it's so dumb to think. So here's the stupid example, right? Like you've been working all day, and this was before Lauren was being a guide at Train Up Academy, when she was just at home with our boys, working all day, and you've been providing, you've been doing it. And then you get home and you want to be greeted like a king, and then wife's not feeling good. House is crazy because the boys are crazy. And coming home to a messy house is just how it is when you have little ones. Yeah. Like you can clean it and then it'll be messy a second later. Like that's just life.
Yeah.
And then like I would come home and just be a total turd and just be like, I mean, what are we doing here? Like what? I'm not kidding. This is not good. I would ask questions like, what have you done all day? And that's like, that's not a good question.
Done that before.
Yeah. Not a good question to ask. And then meanwhile, when the roles like were flipped for a day and I had to be home with the kids, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Dude, I'm so good at like, I'll be by myself with the kids for a little bit. I'll be like, hey, where are you? Where are you? I need you.
Yes,
like it's just, hey, you've been gone for 2 hours. I really need you. But we would be gone for like 9 hours, like 8-10 hours. And then we come over like, what's going on,
And I'm so good at like keeping these rules when I'm not there. I'm like, are they watching too much TV?
Yeah,
what are they doing? Yeah. Like, it's like as soon as she leaves, sometimes I'm like, I can't handle it. Like,
you throw it on, dude. No doubt. And those
where's Bluey? I need Bluey.
We just put those on. Like, your wife just wants to be loved, and you just want to be respected.
Correct. That's it.
Those things. Right, when those things fall out of line, when she doesn't feel loved, problem. When you don't feel respected, problem. And that's when the things start. And we know this. The successful business people listening to this, like, communication, leadership, all these things. This is the mission for my company, and these are the values we hold for my company. And then when you go home, it's just a wild west.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you're inconsistent, and you kind of just, what's your mission for your family? What do you mean? You know?
Yeah.
I think when you identify those, man, and continue to have conversations with your wife, but it's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this to use like Jesus as a self-help thing. Jesus is not an ornament that you put on your tree. He is everything. You die to yourself to follow him, all that. I don't understand how you can learn to die to yourself without his model for that.
Yeah.
Like he is the model for that. And like the question of like, hey, does he always come at us and criticize? Like the way that we are criticizing our wife, whether in front of her or behind her, do you think as we are approaching the Lord, he's just criticizing the same way? Like, oh, he didn't even talk to me today. He doesn't even recognize it. No, it says that he is advocating for us to the Father.
Yeah.
So am I advocating for my wife? Like, here's like a good check. If you were to ask my friends about Lauren, who didn't know Lauren like I know Lauren, what would they say about her?
Yeah.
Would they say awesome things or would they say bad things? Like what would they say about her? Like what's their perception?
Yeah.
The unmet expectations thing I think is big. Here's something that someone would challenge us on that. I want to hear your thoughts. So are you saying that we can't expect things? Are you saying that there can't be certain roles? Are there no expectations at all? What does that mean for you?
Well, I think there has to be order in your house.
Okay.
I mean, I think there has to be, but I think that's a conversation between you and your wife that you got to have. Like the expectation that all the dishes need to be done all the time. That's not real. Like it's not realistic. Like, I mean, but this expectation of serving each other, sure.
Yeah.
It's like the things you can control, man. You can't control if the house is clean all the time. You think you can, then the kids go and dump a bucket in the floor. And like, but the things that you can control is like the expectations, like we're gonna invite the Lord into the middle of our marriage.
Yeah.
We're gonna communicate. We're gonna trust, we're gonna decide to trust each other. We're gonna parent our kids this way.
Yeah.
I think those are like the pillars that your marriage, that your family has to be built on. And all this other stuff is it's distractions.
Yeah.
It wants to take our focus off of what this is about. Like we are called to disciple our kids. We're called to point them to the Lord in everything we do. It doesn't say like, make sure the dishes are done and like whatever. Like, yes, keep your house in order. But some people, your house could function a completely different way than mine. But I think if the main thing's the main thing of point them to Jesus, let them know that work is good. Work is pleasing to the Lord. It's good to work. This is how you love your wife. Yeah. This is how you communicate. Like, so I think as long as not letting these worldly distractions, because the devil wants nothing more, man, than to get it says a foothold. You've done it. You've been running from Benjamin your life, and when you're younger, like trying to get away from him. If he could get his foot between the door and the door jamb, you were done.
Yes. Yeah.
Until you got a little older, bulked up some. But if they can just get their foot in the door, it doesn't matter how hard you're pushing it shut. He wants you to argue about these trivial things.
Yes.
So I think order matters. I think the pillars of that your family is built. What's your family built on?
Yeah.
And there's some non-negotiables there. All these other little things, they're going to creep in, like pasta instead of rice, dishes in the sink, toys on the floor, and
stupid stuff.
That's fine. Next time you see dishes in the sink, don't do them.
Yeah, seriously, dude. Like I literally felt like, and sometimes I feel like the Lord speaks to me this way, but like the dishes were piling up, and I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna get mad. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna get mad. And I use that stupid example, but like, and I'm sitting here getting mad, and I feel like the Lord was like, "Hey, Sam, you got two options. Either you could stop pouting because you're pouting, or you could do the damn dishes. Those are your two options. Like, but what you're doing right now ain't gonna work. Like that's not bringing life. The guy that officiated our wedding, I know you got to run here soon. I'm keeping an eye on the time.
No, you're good. You're good.
The guy that officiated our wedding is like our counselor. He's like our guy that we go to process stuff. And he's a really good friend of ours. But he always talks about like expectancy over expectation. Expectancy over expectation. And he says, when there's a gap between whatever bar you set in reality Expectation believes the worst.
Mhm.
Expectancy believes the best.
Yeah.
So like say your like hope when you got home was that the house would be clean. If it's not, you believe the best in your wife.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, that's clearly because the day was crazy. How can I love her in this? Like, and then
Yeah.
expectancy shares hopes and dreams, not expectations. So expectancy is like, hey, this is just, I honestly, I know it's stupid. I know it sounds trivial. I want to be like greeted like I'm a king when I come home.
Yeah.
And then when you share it like that, it's like, oh, I love you. I want to fulfill that for you. I'm going to get the kids to run up to you. I'm going to get
Yeah.
like, and then it's like, all right, well, how do you hope to be greeted when you get home? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then
Yeah.
as soon as you share that, it's like, well, now I don't even need it anymore.
Yeah.
Because she knows, and I trust that she wants to do that for me. So like when you set this expectation and you approach marriage as this business partnership, you've just like, you've messed it all up.
Yeah. It's contraction. It's like a covenant, not a contract.
Yes,
You've
exactly.
never loved someone you've never loved someone you're in a contract with.
Yeah.
You don't love Verizon. You hate them. Like, because if you don't pay, you're cut off. And
Yeah.
it's like you come home, but we say, oh, yeah, we don't love Verizon, but like we treat our marriage like a contract.
Yeah.
You didn't do the dishes. Well, I'm mad now, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's when you view it as a covenant, man, it's different. And dude, here's the thing. I don't have a figure. Like I said, I'm 34. I've been married 9 years.
Yeah.
There's people married longer than me and stuff like that. Listen, this is just for me. Like, it's a daily thing. I wish I could live my life in the way that I'm talking about a lot of this on here.
No doubt.
And
God.
so that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I know the right answer. Man, it's awfully hard when you've get a little fired up from working all day and you come home and you're like, chaos. But challenge yourself. Like, get 1% a little bit better every day, closer to the Lord, closer to your wife.
But
Like,
you know what helps is you have friends. Like
Yeah.
I get to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have other believers in my life, other men that follow Jesus with me. And when I call them, although they're good friends and they'll be like laughing and joking about it, they redirect me back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The guy that officiated our wedding, he made a promise to each of us. He said, he looked at me, he said, hey, I want you to know, or sorry, he looked at Lauren. He said, I want you to know that when your husband calls me about things that are going on with you, I am not going to talk poorly about you. And I'm not going to agree with him and all the stuff that he's complaining about. And then his wife said the same thing to me. Like, if she calls me, your name's safe with me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to redirect him back. One time I asked the stupid question of like, I say stupid because it was worded just anyway. I was like, hey, how do you get your wife to like read scripture more and spend time with Jesus more? He was like, I know what you're asking. She's probably not doing that because you don't create a culture of freedom in your house. And I was like, sick. That was awesome. Thanks. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.
Click.
Yeah.
But,
sayonara. You know?
But yeah, man, it's true. It's all of those things. Like getting down to the root of why. Like, hey, I'll take the kids. You should take 15 minutes to just have some alone time. We don't do that. We're just like, wake up early, get up early and get it done. You know, it's like the expectations.
All right. I know you got like 2 minutes left. I didn't know we'd go in this direction of just talking about being a husband and being a dad, but I think it's good. And I think it's especially good because people know about your football stuff and you have a ton of good football stuff out there and like mental coaching. You guys can follow his Instagram page if you don't already. Is it just undrafted coaching? Is that what it is?
Yeah, undrafted coaching, or my main one is just Josh Wells, and you'll be able to find it.
Awesome. And it's really, really good stuff that you put out there. I know I benefit from it. All right. I want you to you're going to give a final message to each of these little demographics. Okay. What's your final message to high school kids? Okay. High school men right now, listening to this podcast, listening to this show. What would you share with them?
Ooh. One thing that I would share with high school kids.
This is sponsored by the Local Cup while he's thinking. Local Cup, thank you so much.
I'm telling you, I'm a Local Cup guy every time I'm in Mechanicsville. Oh. With high schoolers, I would tell them, we talked a lot about surrounding yourself with the right people.
surround yourself with the right people. And as you want to walk a certain way, as you follow after the Lord, as you have big goals for sports, there's going to be some things that you're going to have to give up. Some friendships, some events, parties, whatever it might be. You're going to have to be willing to give those things up for something greater.
Yep.
And you might not have many, but surround yourself with a few guys that want to go in the same direction, because you show me who you surround yourself with, I'll show you your future.
Yep.
And I think you also need somehow, y'all, if they're a Hanover football player, they have you. And a lot of kids don't have that, man. Somebody one step ahead of you. So be willing to give up the things you need to give up to walk in the way that you're called to walk.
Yep.
On the field, with the Lord, in school, in your house. And then, like I said, surround yourself with people that genuinely want to do it the same way.
Love it. That's so good. All right.
Yeah.
Next group and last group. Okay. The business leaders that are listening to this, that have families, that feel this weight in leadership. What do you say to them?
I think reframing feeling the weight. Like I said, trucks ride better with a heavy load. We're meant to carry a weight.
Yep.
You will never be satisfied with money, things, possessions, your kids getting scholarships, your wife greeting you like a king. That will never satisfy you. So the weight's not the problem. It's where we drop the weight, who's helping us carry the weight. And give all you have where you are.
Yeah.
You're a business leader. Be the best business leader in the world. Make as much money as you can for the glory of God.
Yeah.
And when you're home, for the glory of God, be the best husband that you're called to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, weight's a good thing. You can't do it by yourself. And the only thing that'll ever be enough is your relationship with the Lord.
Love you, dude. Thank you so much for this. I look up to you a ton. You're the man. Keep being awesome in everything you do. You're a champion. You're a Super Bowl champion, but you're a champion in your home. So go keep coaching, man. You're doing great.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you having me, and hope everybody got one thing out of it.
Love you, dude.
Awesome. Love you, man.
See you.
See you, bud.